Welcome everyone. Welcome to today's YouTube live stream with Carlton. My name is John, and I just want to introduce our host today, Carlton Dennis. His tale began with a simple question to his mother about taxes. This initial spark ignited a fascination with tax laws, which soon became a powerful mission. Carlton's passion led him to educate countless American taxpayers through social media, while also providing personalized guidance to celebrities, athletes, and high-stake investors, resulting in millions of dollars in tax savings. A licensed tax strategist, Carlton's impact-driven consultations have empowered over 10,000 clients to realize their financial goals and embrace tax-free living by saving them well over $10 million in taxes throughout his career. His courses have cemented his position as a thought leader, enriching the world with education-focused content. Carlton not only imparts his knowledge, but lives it, serving as a beacon of inspiration for both tax professionals and business owners. When it comes to sales, Carlton's energy and motivation are unparalleled, making the idea of selling water to a whale feel entirely achievable. Ladies and gentlemen, Carlton Dennis.
Man, I don't know if there's anybody who can give me a better intro than my man John. So I just want to stop and say thank you so much for the warm welcome. How's everybody doing here today? It's Monday, and I hope that you're feeling great. If you can do this for me, put a 1 in the chat box. I want to make sure my volume is coming across correctly and that every single person that's on this live event has the ability to connect with me and lock in with me over these next 30 to 45 minutes. Like, there's seriously about to be nothing more important for you to do than just to lock in with me and absorb this information that I'm about to give you. But before we jump into that, I got to ask the room, how many of you guys in here have learned something from me from a tax perspective? Put the word tax in the chat box if I've taught you one thing that has gotten you closer to saving money. Just one thing. Maybe it was the LLC conversation. Maybe it was switching you over into an S corporation. Maybe it was the conversation around you taking payroll, or it could have been as simple as you wanting to learn more about real estate tax strategies. But if you learned one thing from my YouTube channel that has helped you get closer to the bag, put the word tax in the chat box. I want to connect with you, and I just want to say thank you for being an avid follower of mine. Thank you for helping me grow this YouTube channel. Thank you for giving me a platform where my voice is able to come across clearly and concisely to get you closer to saving money and to building wealth. Now, today's session is going to be a little bit different than some of the other live sessions that I've done. Some of you guys that have joined me on previous live sessions have had me go over advanced tax strategies, talking about the differences between LLCs and S Corps, how to place your children on payroll. I even talk about how to layer your entities so that they're all owned by a trust. And I know that's extremely important to you guys. But in today's conversation, I'm going to be speaking to CPAs and tax professionals. Before I jump in really quick, how many of you guys on here, if you are, put the word CPA or put the words enrolled agent? If you're a CPA right now that's currently practicing tax law, or if you're a licensed enrolled agent, or maybe you're just a tax practitioner, put the word CPA or put the words enrolled agent in the chat box if that is you. If you're a taxpayer and you're like, Carlton, listen, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an enrolled agent, I may not have any aspirations to be a CPA or an enrolled agent, what you can put in the chat box right now, put the words taxpayer, and that will help me identify who is here. I see that we already have some people commenting. Jex, Sixona, Cleopatra White, Rake and Inc. Thank you guys so much. The reason why I'm putting together this presentation today is because I realize that there is a gap in the marketplace between CPAs and tax strategists. And I want to make sure that we have some clarity around what the differences are between a CPA and a tax strategist. So if you allow me, well, first off, I just want to make sure if this is cool for me to teach on. Can I get a yes in the chat box if you guys are comfortable with me teaching on this today? You can put a no in the chat box and we can talk about other things. Maybe we can talk about how there's a hurricane going on in California, a tropical storm. We can waste our time talking about that. Or we can talk about something that might get you closer to saving money this year with the 5 months and 15 days we have left in the year. You let me know which one you'd rather have me talk about. All right, perfect, great. Thank you guys so much. So the conversation of discussion today is going to be around the differences between a CPA and a tax strategist. How many of you guys currently can say, Carlton, I have a tax strategist? Put yes in the chat box if you currently have a tax strategist. Put no in the chat box if you do not have a tax strategist. I just want to get a total of hands. How many of you guys can confidently say here today, Monday, August 21st, that you do have a tax strategist that you're working with, or you do not have a tax strategist? Put no in the chat box if you do not have a tax strategist. Put yes in the chat box if you already have a tax strategist. Okay, great. Awesome. Now, a majority of you CPAs or a majority of you enrolled agents or tax preparers who are on this call today, I'm going to educate you on something. You have a lot of information up in your head that you went and spent time going to get, whether it was from taking classes in college or whether it was from you doing some of the things that I did, which was spending late nights studying tax law. You have a lot of knowledge. But right now, there is a gap in the marketplace between your customers understanding what you're capable of doing for them in order for them to save money in taxes. And I want to make sure that if you're watching this right now, and you're a taxpayer, I want you to do a favor for me. After this video is over, I want you to copy the link that's going to be in the top browser section. I want you to send this video over to your CPA. I want you to send this video over to your enrolled agent, over to your tax preparer, because I promise the information that I'm going to share over these next 30 minutes is going to be so valuable to them. Not only for them to be able to help more customers, it's going to be valuable for them to get to the lifestyle that they want to have for themselves. Your CPAs and your tax professionals, they want to make more money, they want to earn more income, and they also want to be able to leverage the tax laws for you, the customers. But here's the thing that I want you to first understand about the traditional CPA, if you allow me. The CPA, by the way, in case you didn't know, it stands for Certified Public Accountant. Okay? So when you decide as a CPA or someone who really wants to be passionate about teaching other people's taxes, when you decide to go down the road of becoming a certified public accountant, you actually do need to go to school for this. And a majority of the lessons that you're learning in school have to do with public accounting. Now, public accounting is probably something that you might not talk about too regularly amongst your family at the dinner table. But what public accounting is truly doing is it's your ability to account for all items that make up a tax return. Okay? So as a CPA, all the items that can make up a tax return could be revolving around a customer's financial situation. It can revolve around their personal situation, if they're married, single, husband, wife, children. Do they qualify for student loan interest deductions? These are all public informations around the customer that allows for us to account and file a tax return. This is really where a majority of CPAs spend a lot of their time early on, is they spend a lot of their time doing public accounting so they can file a tax return. Now, I have shared this numerous times on my YouTube channel, and I'll continue to talk about it here. I currently have about 13 to probably somewhere around 13 to 15 CPAs that work inside of my office. My CPAs are incredible public accountants. The reason why I hired these CPAs is because these CPAs are really, really good at making sure no items are being missed when it's time to file the tax return. I understand that. So in order for them to be very successful at their job, they need to be doing public accounting pretty much every single day. It's kind of like going into the gym and lifting chest or doing legs. If you're doing chest every Monday or you're doing legs every Friday, 6, 8 weeks from now, you're going to have pretty big chest muscles. You're going to have pretty good leg muscles unless you're, screwing off while you're in the gym, right? This is the same way that CPAs approach the tax profession. When it comes to filing your tax return, your CPA has to be on the treadmill, working the tax return, constantly asking you for data, making sure that they're accounting for every single item that can go inside of your tax return. Because guess what? A CPA signs off on your tax returns before they provide it back to you. Now, some of my taxpayers in the room will tell me, Carlton, I feel like my CPA is super busy. Like every time I reach out to him, it's really hard to get him on the phone. Sometimes we go through these email wars where I'll send him an email, then he sends me back an email, and then I send another email, and then 3 months later, I finally get the answer that I'm looking for. Put a yes in the chat box if that is you, but a no in the chat box if that has never happened. But this is what you guys tell me. I want you to understand something about the certified public accountant. If you're on here right now and you're a CPA, you're aspiring CPA, or you're an enrolled agent, you can choose to solely focus on tax returns if you would like to. That there is nothing wrong with choosing to solely focus on tax returns. You know that every single person that has a pulse that makes over $13,850, they have to file a tax return, right? Every single person that makes over $13,850, that's the standard deduction, I believe, this year, is it not? They have to file a tax return. So as a CPA, you will always have a job. There will always be a need for you to be able to help customers because every single customer is going to need to file a tax return as long as they're making money. Yes? Question. I'm asking you, the audience. Does every single taxpayer need to have a tax strategist? Put yes in the chat box if you think they do. Put no in the tax box if you think they don't. Does every single taxpayer need to have a tax strategist? Put yes in the chat box if they do. Put no in the chat box if they don't. Some of you guys are going to be like, Carlton, everybody should have a tax strategist. I mean, if you're making money, you should be trying to avoid taxes. And I would agree with you. If you're making money, it is patriotic for you to avoid taxes by leveraging the tax code, in case somebody didn't tell you that. But no, the answer is no. Not every single taxpayer needs to have a tax strategist. Having a tax strategist it's a luxury when you think about it. Every single person might need a pair of shoes, but not every single person needs Louboutins. Correct or am I wrong? So the tax strategist is a more niche specific role in the tax and accounting space. Yes? So here's the thing. When I was learning about tax law and the differences between enrolled agents, CPAs, tax strategists, I was kind of getting confused. The Google Wikipedia answer is that CPAs spend a certain amount of time doing public accounting, and then they will go ahead and intern or work for a accounting office for 2 years, garnering experience so they can file tax returns. And then I look online and I see that an enrolled agent is someone who has the highest designation that the IRS gives and studies primarily tax law. Okay. The differences between the CPA and an enrolled agent aren't that big of differences. A CPA just spends more of their time on public accounting filing returns. An enrolled agent just spends more time studying tax laws. Now, both the enrolled agent and the CPA can do the exact same things. The enrolled agent can file tax returns. The CPA can file tax returns. The enrolled agent can set up your LLC. The CPA can set up your LLC. The enrolled agent could tell you how much you should put yourself on payroll for. The CPA could tell you how much you put yourself on payroll for. But here's the thing. These two professions, the CPA and the enrolled agent, they're great. But what should really matter to you is when do you decide, and I'm talking to you, CPA, when do you make that crossover period to become a tax strategist? For many of you guys who are unaware of what a tax strategist is, I will define this. A tax strategist is somebody who is helping you leverage the tax code to the fullest extent. They're not helping you leverage the tax code for only 25% of what the law allows. They're not letting you leverage the tax code for 50%. They're letting you leverage 100% of the tax code. So we have to define what that even means, okay? You as a CPA, you as an enrolled agent, even you as a tax preparer can become a tax strategist, but we first need to understand what is the difference between a tax strategist versus a CPA and an enrolled agent. And I will love to share this with you guys. Just hearing the words leverage the tax code to the fullest extent doesn't give you an idea of what your tax strategist does. But here's where you'll start to understand. I look at a calendar year kind of like running on a track. How many of you guys have ran track and field when you're in junior high school or high school? This is exactly how I look at a calendar year, right? It's January 1st, right around December 31st, right? And then we have what? April 15th down here is when everybody has to file their tax returns, right? We got June 15th, estimated tax payments, September 15th, another estimated tax payments, right? This is like our entire year summed up. And by the way, we're already through a quarter of the year right now, aren't we? During the months of January through April 15th, this is called tax season. Okay. During January through April 15th, every CPA is busy. Every single CPA is busy unless they do not do business. Every single tax season, your preparer is going to be busy. Even during tax season, your enrolled agent could be busy. But what ends up happening during the months of April 15th all the way up until December 31st, we see a drop off in communication between CPAs and enrolled agents and tax strategists. And here's the reason why. Right after you get out of April 15th, if you're a CPA or you're somebody who's preparing taxes, what ends up happening is you typically go on vacation because you've been working for literally 4 months straight. Literally, you've been going hard for 4 months straight. You're going to slowly get back to emails. And you're going to start working on extensions. How many of you guys right now are on extension for your 2022 tax year? It's completely fine if you are. I have certain taxpayers that are on extension right now. But most of my CPAs who are back from vacation, by the way, I told you I had about 13 to 15 CPAs that are back from vacation right now. Guess what they're doing? They're getting back to all the emails and they're working on customers who are on extension for 2022. Somebody drop it in the comments box. What's today's date? Can somebody let me know? Maybe I forgot. What's today's date? Can somebody put it in the comment back? Maybe Splatter Day Nightmares. I'm seeing some incredible names coming across. Christopher Francisco. What's today's date? Thank you. Today is August 21st, right? We're over here. So we're in August of 2023, and there are taxpayers who are still working on their tax returns that are on extension for 2022. Are you following me so far? Okay. Here is the difference between the tax strategist and the CPA. And after you understand this, I know for certain you will be able to choose your professionals wisely. But even more so, I know that some of you CPAs and enrolled agents will start to determine how you wish to operate your businesses differently. During the months of January through April 15th, every single CPA and enrolled agent is filing tax returns, like I said. But outside of the months of January through April 15th, many CPAs, and when I say many, I coach a lot of CPAs, guys. 70 to 80% of CPAs do not bill their customers again unless it's for the 2022 tax return, the other half of the extension amount. That means for 8 months throughout the year, 8 to 9 months throughout the year, they're not earning any income, but they're still working. Do you think, and I'm going to ask you guys, do you think that your CPA is going to want to spend time talking with you about the different things that are going on in 2023 if they're so focused on filing tax returns from the previous year? Yes or no? Do you think they're going to be interested in talking to you about what's going on in 2023? Matter of fact, do you think that your CPA or your enrolled agent wants to hear about how your business has grown, the new people you've hired, how you've rebranded your company, how you're opening up new entities, you're thinking about investing in real estate, your daughter just left the house and is now in college? Do you think your CPA has the time to sit down with you and talk about all these things that are changing in your life when he has customers that pay him all the way back January 1st for a tax return that's going to become due September 15th or October 15th, depending on what type of extension you're on? I'm going to tell you something. Your CPA is going to be very reluctant to pay you any attention during this time period because he has a duty and obligation based on his tax license to get your tax return done on time. It is his fiduciary or her fiduciary responsibility to complete your tax return by the designated date. Now, if you don't get your CPA the information that they need, if you're slacking off on getting all your K-1 forms and your profit and loss and all your bank statements, I don't accept bank statements. You better get your bookkeeping done before you come to my office, right? But maybe you're spending all this time getting this information to your CPA. Guess what ends up happening? Your CPA will sign off on your tax return and upload your completed return, whether you've uploaded all your data or not. He has a fiduciary responsibility to complete your taxes by September 15th or by October 15th if you have paid him or her to do the tax returns with you. This is probably another reason, too, why your CPA is a little bit unavailable during the months of June, July, August, September, October, November. Now we start to get over towards November and December, and now your CPA is starting to communicate with you again. Communication starting to happen with your CPA. But you know what ends up happening when you talk to your CPA in the months of November and December? Your conversations are pretty dry. Your CPA is talking to you about, well, have you maxed out your 401ks yet? Have you given any money to charity yet? Put yes in the chat box if I'm hitting on something. Put no in the chat box if this is not something that happens in the tax space for you. But most CPAs, right around the months of November and December, they're just asking the basic information that they have been coached and educated to ask you right during the last months of the year. Dude, have you maxed out your 401k yet? And are you writing a check to the Boys and YMCA Club? That's what they're going to ask you. Okay. Now, I want you to understand something, CPAs, enrolled agents that are watching this, aspiring CPAs, aspiring enrolled agents. And by the way, if you're watching this right now and you're a taxpayer, I'm going to ask you to send this link to your CPA or to your enrolled agent. I want to help them make more money. I want to help them get closer to help save you money. I know most of you guys can't pay me $50,000 to $100,000 for me to do your tax plan. I don't serve the masses. I serve a small niche of people, right? But I am going to give you about $50,000 to $100,000 worth of game today. And if your CPA, your tax professional can lock in with this information, it will change the entire way they do business moving forward, and your relationship with your CPA or your enrolled agent will change. But here is what needs to happen. Your CPA has to decide to change their mentality around providing tax and accounting services. Your CPA has the information. Your CPA has the same information that a tax strategist has. Your CPA has the same information that an enrolled agent has. They have not made the decision to become a tax strategist for you, the customer. And mainly, they have not made the decision to become a tax strategist for you, the customer, because one, they're not aware of what a tax strategist is. Carlton created that term when he decided to hop on YouTube 2 years ago. They don't know what that terminology means. And two, they're being paid to file your tax return. They're not being paid to be your tax strategist. Put yes in the chat box if you're following me. Put no in the chat box if you're lost somewhere in space, and I will send John, someone from my team, to go find you. Okay? They're not being paid to be your tax strategist. So here's the thing you have to understand as you're following me right now, taxpayer. I no longer want you to be upset anymore. I do not want you to be upset if your CPA is not available come May, come June, come July, because Carlton is teaching you that a CPA has a responsibility, a duty, an obligation to make sure his customers that have paid him file those tax returns on time. And if they're on extension, he has to work through the summer to make sure that those returns are getting filed. Now, I say all that to say this. I have an amazing CPA team in my office. I also have an amazing enrolled agent tax strategy team. I call them the assassins. The reason why I hired these assassins is because people like you and I, we make a lot of decisions every single day. Let's just be honest. I was waking up today. I was like, okay, we have this whole tropical hurricane going on here in California. So I'm not getting my car washed by my car guy, which, by the way, is a tax write-off. If you're a business owner, you can get your car washes written off. I'm not doing that today. I'm going to have to adjust when I'm going to the gym. I got my other C corporation that manages my S corporations. I got to figure out what I'm going to do to reduce the liability. I'm already making financial decisions before 8 o'clock in the morning. The difference between having a tax strategist and just having a CPA, just having somebody who files my returns, is you get to communicate with somebody about this. How many of you guys have already made financial decisions today that are going to impact your ability to make money or save money today? Put yes in the chat box if that is you. Put no in the chat box if that isn't you. How many of you guys have made a decision already today that's going to impact your ability to make money this week or your ability to save money this week? How many of you guys have already made that decision? Now, as you begin to make these decisions, you're making these decisions in a down period for your CPA. This is called the down period for your CPA, okay? April 15th all the way to December 31st is considered a downtime period for CPAs. This is when CPAs essentially, for lack of a better term, check out. Like they get very lackadaisical. They slow down with their response time. They bounce off, right? They bounce off of the email accounts, off to vacation. You're on Instagram. You're looking at Instagram and you're seeing your CPA, in Hawaii with his kids. And you're like, damn, excuse my language. You're like, dang, why hasn't he responded to my email? Well, at least he's happy. I'm glad to see that he's getting some time and he's getting some rest. It must have been a busy tax season. Yet you're leaving money on the table and you feel like you're leaving money on the table. I want you to know something, CPA. I want you to know something, enrolled agent. I want you to know something, aspiring tax professional. You can make the choice to become a tax strategist today. Now, I gave you the high level understanding of what a tax strategist does. Yes, they leverage the code to the fullest extent, but what does that really look like? A tax strategist is somebody who is going to assess your current liability. In order for somebody to assess your current liability, I'm not talking about 2022. 2022 is already over. The ball dropped in New York, December 31st. That year's already over. There's not a whole lot for us to talk about anymore about 2022 unless you own real estate and you manage the properties yourself. Sure, we can do some cost segregation studies and have some fun there. Unless you have a retirement account set up that you would like to dump more money into, sure, we can talk about retirement accounts. But other than that, 2022 is over. There's not anything else for us to discuss. So in order for us to get to a place where we can save money, we have to be operating in real time. Today is August 21st. You are earning money today, and you've earned money up from January 1st of 2023 up until today, August 21st, 2023. Question I have for you, taxpayer, is do you know how much you're going to end up giving to Uncle Sam right now today? If I were to ask you, there was a gun pointed to your head and they said, hey, you have to let me know how much Uncle Sam is taking from you. Do you have that number? Yes or no? Put a yes in the chat box if that is you. Put no in the chat box if you do not have that number. Many of you guys would say, ooh, Carlton, I don't really know what I'm going to owe the IRS right now. If the world were to end today, I couldn't tell you what Uncle Sam's portion is. All I know is I don't want him to come at this bag. This is my bag here, right? So in order for your tax strategist to be able to help you, your tax strategist first has to assess your current liability, which means they're going to have to spend some time with you to understand the income you've earned from January up until today, August 21st. And guess what they're going to do with the remaining time we have left in the year? They're going to forecast your income. It's pretty easy to forecast income when we already have 8 months to show for. You've already given me a resume telling me how well you perform in January, how well you perform in February, how well you perform in March and April. And then I jumped over to Q2 and I can see that you're making money in June. You're making money in July, already halfway through the month of August. I am getting a pretty good resume, taxpayer, of how much money you're making. And by the way, I can start to assess your current liability here today. Can't I? What does this do for you? This is you, by the way. You're the taxpayer. What does this do for you? What does it give you? If I told you, hey, Fernando, hey, Deanne Penny, hey, Lawyer Up, the real CJ, those of you guys who are in the chat box, by the way, who are commenting, if I told you right now what your tax liability was and you weren't happy with it, what am I giving you time to do? I'm giving you time to fix your situation. Something that many of you guys have never been in the position to have. Some of you guys always go into your tax guy's office or you're on a Zoom call with them in January, February, March, and April, and you're like, why is it that we are here again? I make more money, I pay more money. I make more money, you tell me I can't take more write-offs. Why does it feel like we're repeating this thing over and over again? Because you're not even giving yourself time to fix your own situation. And CPA, enrolled agent, you didn't even know that this was something that you were supposed to be doing for your customer. Because guess what? You haven't made the decision yet to become a tax strategist. And by the way, it's not just a decision. You're going to charge for it. You're going to charge for it. If your customer is going to pay $50,000 in taxes and you have the ability to only have them pay $25,000 in taxes and you want to charge $5,000 for that information to save them $25,000, you should definitely be able to do that. I mean, the money is going to go to the government. It's not like they're going to get it back in the form of a refund check anyways. You should be able to pay to help people. I'm pretty sure that's what doctors get paid to do. I'm pretty sure that's what lawyers get paid to do. CPA enrolled agent, you can be paid to help people. Guess what? Helping people who have a pulse, who just need to file a tax return, it's no longer enough in 2023 anymore. Carlton's telling you that. Getting paid to file a tax return when every single person in the world who has a pulse and makes over $13,850 has to do that, that is not enough anymore. It's not enough anymore. I'm telling you this. So what we can choose to do is we can make the choice. Now, after we've made the choice that we want to become a tax strategist, you're probably thinking, Carlton, how is this all going to happen? I'm going to share something with you around how this is going to happen. But first, you need to understand what's going to happen. What is going to happen is, one, you're going to assess your client's current liability. Your customers need to know what they owe today. They're tired of being reactive. They want to be proactive, and they want you to be the person that they get to be proactive with. What does that do for you? It positions you to be the professional. Don't you get tired, CPA, of your taxpayer going on Google and sending you different Google links and Wikipedia links or Carlton's YouTube videos telling you, can I do this? Can I do that? And you're always in this reactive state saying, oh, well, we could do that write-off. Oh, the home office could be taken inside of that company. Oh, you know what? That's a great idea. Where did you find that one? How does that make you look as a professional? When you spent all of this time going to school, getting high grades in college, spending extra hours with the teacher, learning how to provide tax preparation to your customers, learning all of this high level stuff, how does it make you feel when your clients that pay you are telling you stuff that you haven't done for them? How does that make you feel? Right? Doesn't make you feel too good as a professional. Matter of fact, it makes you feel even worse when you're like, yeah, I'm going to charge you 20% more next year on your tax preparation, but I'm not saving you 20% more in your taxes. Doesn't it make you feel a little weird? Right? Here is how you can fix this situation. Here's how you can fix this situation. You're going to make the choice today to become a tax strategist. And if you're watching this right now and you're a taxpayer who's watching this right now, I need you to help your CPA. I need you to help your enrolled agent. What I need you to help them understand is that there is a pathway for them to become a tax strategist because they already have the information. They do. And once they understand how to go about providing tax strategy services, they're going to sit down and meet with you, and they're going to be able to tell you what your current liability is so you have time to fix your situation. I'm going to tell you guys, as a tax strategist, you don't have to start a YouTube channel like I do. As a tax strategist, you don't have to get behind the camera and do some of this stuff. You just have to be willing to help your customer in a different way than you're currently helping them. And what this ends up doing for you is it results in you, CPA, you having more of your time back because your customer starts to understand what your true role is. They understand, oh, my CPA wears two hats. He files returns and he plans for me to save tax. Right now, we realize only one is happening. You guys in the chat box have let me know this. Carlton, right now, me and my CPA, we do an incredible job of filing returns. Matter of fact, my CPA was my daddy's CPA. He was my daddy's CPA. Even though he's old, I trust him. I trust her. She's been with me since the beginning of time. I've watched the sun come up with this CPA, right? That's amazing. I'm all happy for that. But question, is that same person someone who's helping you plan for your taxes, planning to save money on your taxes? Okay. When a CPA gets to you and they do their tax returns with you, they're going to ask for your W-2s. They're going to ask for your 1099s. They're going to ask for your K-1s. They're going to ask for your mortgage statements. They're going to ask you for your retirement, your 1099Bs, your interest. They're just going to ask for all of this information. Okay. When your tax strategist gets with you, they're going to want to know your current income, your current expenses, and then they need to know your goals, your personal goals, your business goals, your investment goals, and your retirement goals. Because some of you guys don't even want to put money into retirement, yet your CPA every single year tells you to max out your 401k. And you're like, dude, I don't even love that thing. I hate it, right? So we got to get really clear on what you're trying to accomplish. The only way a CPA or an enrolled agent can become a tax strategist is if they start to ask the right questions. And the question revolves around where you currently stand. In order for someone to know where you currently stand, they should know the amount of income you've made up until August 21st, whether it's W-2, 1099. You have pay stubs, W-2 taxpayer. Your pay stubs tell us a lot. Your current expenses. If you're a business owner, your profit and loss statement should be caught up through July already. We're in August. You should already have your P&Ls. We should know whether or not you're buying a new house, or if you're having more children or wanting to move from one state to a different state. You should be talking to your CPA or your tax strategist about this right now. Maybe you're thinking about opening a new business or shutting down a new business or going into partnership with somebody. This is a conversation that should be happening right now. Maybe you're thinking about getting into real estate, purchasing a short-term rental property, or relinquishing certain investments that you don't want to hold on to anymore. That conversation should be happening right now. And maybe you're somebody that does believe in retirement accounts, or maybe you don't. And your CPA or your tax strategist who's going to be working with you should know, please don't put any strategies that revolve around me putting money into retirement accounts. But that's a conversation that should be happening right now. If we can tackle these conversations right now, we can get to a place where a CPA can input your information into their CPA software that can provide you with various different strategies that impact your adjusted gross income, your taxable income, as well as the date you should be implementing that strategy. So that way you shouldn't have a question around whether or not you need to switch over from an LLC to an S Corp before the end of the year, or place your children on payroll, or set up a management company, or do a cost segregation study. They're already planning these strategies out with you ahead of time. You know, way before we get to December 31st, when we have no time. If you wait until November or December to sit down with your CPA, You're no different than every other taxpayer that has a pulse who files tax return. You're doing the same thing that every other taxpayer does. There's something I should tell you. It's no secret that the 1%, the 1% of all income earners, the 1% of all taxpayers that pay the least amount of taxes possible, it's no secret that they planned to pay the least amount of taxes possible. But what you may not know is there's a difference in characteristics of what they do. The difference is they don't wait until November and December to go have a conversation about 2023 when they've been making income all year long. You know what happens when you decide to go to your CPA's office or your enrolled agent's office in the months of November and December? I view it like going into a doctor's office via a helicopter, and you're being flown in through the emergency door, and they're taking you off the stretcher, and you're coming into the doctor's office, and you have bullet shot wounds. Yeah, you're bleeding out. There's just blood everywhere. And you just got helicoptered in. And you're telling your surgeon, your CPA, fix me. That's what many of you guys are doing. You're waiting until November and December to call in your Tom Brady to try to come save the day. What can he possibly do at this point in time besides open up some gauze tape and put some bandages over the wounds? You're already bleeding, taxpayer, by paying taxes. And what the issue is you are waiting too long to input your tax strategist into the game. And if you're a CPA or an enrolled agent that's watching this right now, and you're not charging for tax planning services, or you haven't been taught how to become a tax strategist, I want to make sure that you understand how to adopt this skill set. What I'm going to do is I am going to put on the Tax Wealth event. This event will teach you how to become a tax strategist. I don't want you to get this confused with my tax-free wealth event. This is the Tax Grow event. I'm doing two different events. I want to make sure you're not getting confused here. For those of you guys that want to work with me and get with my team, you guys are more than welcome to go to the links. I have it inside of the browser history. You guys can do that. This is called the Tax Growth event. What I'm going to do over these 5 days for you, taxpayer, because this is truly for you, for your CPA. I'm doing this for you. I know you guys aren't going to drop $50,000 to $100,000 to have me work for you. Not everybody can do that. Okay. But I am going to give your CPA and I'm going to give your enrolled agent access to all of the strategies that me and my team utilize. They're going to have all of them. I'm going to give them the playbook. But I'm not going to give them the playbook just because it makes sense to give them something, since they're not providing something. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show them the process of how to start doing tax planning for you, because I know they're not doing it right now. And what they're going to learn is new skills that they have never had before. Most of you guys can pretty much agree with me that the traditional CPA is, somewhat of that bookworm that's a little bit unsocial, right? Your CPA needs to learn how to communicate effectively. They also need to learn how to ask the right questions. They need to learn how to forecast your income correctly for you without making mistakes. And they need to know how to make tax strategy recommendations. I talk to some CPAs all the time, and they're like, yeah, well, you could do that. Well, you could. Bro, we got to get out of the woulda, coulda, woulda. What should we do? Like, you got to have some principles around what you're going to advise around. That's one of the benefits of being an accountant, is we get to position people to save the most amount of money possible. We're not here just to position people to file a tax return, at least not anymore, because you learned that today. And being in this position, this means that you can make recommended strategies for your customers, not just for the year of 2023. They're going to want you to help them out for 2024 and the foreseeable future. We got a presidential election coming up. There will be new tax laws. There will be a change to the tax code coming. I promise you that. You know what's going to end up happening though, CPA? They're going to be on the phone with you and they're going to ask you, so what's going on in this new tax law? What can we do to best prepare for it? And unfortunately, you're going to not have the right tools and the right information to be able to not only help your customers save more, but also be able to charge for what you're capable of helping them save. It is no secret. I have said this probably 4 times now. It is no secret that customers pay me anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 to save them 250, 300,000, half a million plus in taxes. It's no secret. But one of the things that my customers understand is my customers understand that when they knock on my door, what they're knocking on the door for. They're knocking on the door for strategies. They know Carlton can file the tax return. He has a great team at the KDA office that can file the returns. They're coming to knock on my door because they have a tax problem. Carlton, I do not want to pay these taxes. I see that Donald Trump paid $750. Amazon paid 0%. Google paid 0%. Can I pay 0% or get as close as I possibly can? I want to follow all the laws. I do not look good in orange. I don't want to be in jail. But I want to make sure I can leverage the tax code to the fullest extent. Ding, 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 ding. You're hitting on my job resume. As a tax strategist, it is my duty and obligation to help you as a taxpayer leverage the code to the fullest extent in integrity with the law. Now, here's what I want to share with you guys. For those of you guys that are interested, you guys will be able to join us for the Tax Growth Challenge. My team is going to drop the link. I'm gonna put the link in there for you guys so that I don't forget, because I can ramble sometimes. I'm gonna drop the link in there for you guys. So if you guys look underneath my name, Carlton Dennis, inside of the chat box, you'll see that I just dropped the link for the Tax Growth Challenge. During these 5 days, your CPA or your tax professional, or if you're aspiring CPA, you're an aspiring enrolled agent, you're an aspiring tax strategist, I'm going to teach you how to have the conversation with anyone. There is a difference between walking into the room and saying, hi, my name is Carlton, I'm a tax accountant, versus saying, hi, my name is Carlton Dennis, I'm a licensed tax strategist who helps taxpayers leverage the tax code to the fullest extent. There is a difference between what I just said and what a normal CPA says. A normal CPA may never get around to having the conversations that I'm having with customers because of how they present themselves, correct? Put yes in the chat box if you agree, put no in the chat box if you disagree. A normal CPA may not get around to the questions that get asked to me because of the way they present themselves. Put yes in the chat box if you agree, put no in the chat box if you disagree. So the number one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to communicate effectively as a CPA, as an enrolled agent, as an aspiring tax strategist. What I'm also going to show you to do is I'm going to show you how to ask the right questions. Some of you guys found an affinity with my YouTube channel because I teach you how to use the tax code and it's understandable. I realize that you guys have asked so many questions to my tax office that I created my YouTube channel to answer questions that you most commonly have. And in return, I garner YouTube followers, I garner YouTube subscribers, and you guys schedule meetings with my team and we onboard you for tax planning services, right? It's all comes down to the questions you ask. And I know that you guys can say this, some of you guys that are in sales, oh man, a great salesperson is a salesperson that can ask the right questions. Oh yes, yes you are. Yes, you are. A great salesperson is a salesperson that can ask the right questions and all of the questions that they need to ask. Most CPAs aren't asking all the right questions because they're not being taught how to ask questions for tax strategy. They're being taught how to ask questions to file your tax return. So it's typically going to be around your retirement accounts, your change in ownership of your properties, or whether or not you've had any changes when it comes to charitable giving. Really, really straightforward, really dry, really straight cut, right? Another thing that you should understand is that forecasting income is very, very easy to do that not many people choose to do. It would be very simple for your CPA to dedicate some time learning how to forecast your income so he can schedule calls with you right now in the months of August or September to be able to tell you how much you're going to owe. Let me tell you something. If I got on the phone with you and I was like, hey, Rachel, this is Carlton. How you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great, Carlton. It's a pleasure. Hey, listen, filed your tax returns from last year. They came out great. By the way, I've looked at your numbers for this year. Based on what I'm seeing, You're expected to do 50% more in revenue than you did last year. Question I have for you. How are you reducing your tax bill, Rachel? What do you think Rachel's going to say? Well, I don't know, Carlton. What should we do? And look at that. I'm in a situation now where the customer asked me, what should we do? The power that was just given to me. Oh, what a thing. But here's the thing. You as a tax professional, you may not know what to do from this situation. Or matter of fact, you might just blurb out everything that the customer should do and they just run off with that information, go hire another CPA and go hire an actual tax strategist that can help them implement all the strategies. There's the opportunity that's being missed. Your customer is coming to you, the person that's filing the return, asking you what they should be doing about their tax situation, rather than you going to the customer and creating the opportunity. And even when your customer comes to you, you don't know how to create the opportunity when they actually do come to you. Hey, I'm expected to do this much more. Hey, I'm expected to make this amount. Hey, I'm getting bonused out. I'm getting restricted stock units. My employer is giving me more stock options. They're coming to you with this information, yet you don't know what to do in order to parlay that into revenue inside of your firm and to your customer saving dollars. Every time a customer comes to you and they have a tax problem, you should know how to fix that tax problem through tax planning, not through, let's just schedule a Zoom call and talk some ideas. I'm sorry, guys. My customers would hate it if I were to schedule a Zoom call with them and waste an hour of time talking ideas versus coming to them with my ideas that I feel like would be best for their situation. Correct me if I'm wrong. My customers aren't spending time researching Google and Wikipedia for all the most cutting edge, top of the line tax strategies of 2023. They're spending just enough time to book that call with me, just enough time to tell me the information I need to work on the work that I should be working on to provide back a deliverable product that's going to save them money. Because I know that it is in my client's best interest to spend their time making money, not spending time on the phone with me talking all these different tax ideas. They should be on the phone with me executing on tax strategies, executing on the implementation. Okay? So, my promise is if you can get your CPA onto the Tax Pro Grow Challenge, it's not going to cost them $50,000 to $100,000 to be there. I am charging $300 for a ticket. I am going to teach your tax professional how to communicate effectively with you because I know that he or she is not communicating the best and they just need some coaching on this. I'm telling you guys right now, when you go to accounting school, there's no communications class in there. There's no like communication class that says, hey, be friendly to your customers. Make sure that you're always eager, enthusiastic, and you always ask these additional questions. There's no course on that. Okay. Your CPAs aren't getting any type of training on how to communicate effectively. They're not getting any training on how to ask the right questions. They know what the tax software says, and the tax software says, ask for these items. So guess what they're going to do? They're going to go ask for those items. They're not going to ask for things that revolve outside of the tax software. Okay. So they need to learn how to ask the right questions. Your CPA, your enrolled agent, your aspiring tax strategist, they need to learn how to forecast income. I'm going to be honest with you. They haven't earned their ability to call you a tax or call themselves a tax strategist yet if they can't forecast your income. If you can't go to your CPA, your enrolled agent and say, hey, let me know how much I'm expected to owe for 2023 based off of the income and expenses I've had from January up until like August 21st. If they can't take that information and calculate how much you're expected to owe, they are not a tax strategist yet. Okay. And last but not least, John, make sure your volume's off, please. And last but not least is, I want to make sure that you understand that your CPA is the one that should be recommending the strategies. Your CPA should be the one that's telling you what you should be doing with the tax code. Because guess what? As licensed enrolled agents, we do have that fiduciary responsibility as CPAs and enrolled agents and taxpayers. We can actually tell you what makes the best sense in the tax code. And I know so many of you guys are wanting that relationship so bad, someone to bounce ideas off of, someone you can go to when you're having a great money month or a down money month and be able to say, what do we need to adjust? Do I need to not put so much money into the 401k? Do I need to do a cash balance plan instead? Should I set up a private family foundation? Should I be looking at short-term real estate? Should I be looking at long-term real estate? I know you want somebody to tell you what you should be doing. So this is my promise to you. Over these 5 days, I will communicate effectively with your tax professional. I will communicate effectively with your enrolled agent. Hell, I'll communicate effectively with the person that you just assigned to file the tax returns inside of Upwork or on TaskRabbit. Whoever you're currently working with, who is doing your tax returns, they need to learn how to communicate effectively, ask the right questions, forecast your income, and know how to recommend strategies that are in the best interest of you to reduce your tax bill. Hey, not December 31st. They should be doing this now because it's August 21st. So I'm going to run this event. This event kicks off next week. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this back over to my associate, John. He's going to wrap up this event and he's going to let you guys know what you guys can expect. But I believe we're going to have some giveaways. And you know what? I just want to ask John, is it okay if I give a giveaway? Is it okay if I give away some of my stuff? Can I give away some of my stuff?
We can do that, Carl. We can do that. We can make that happen.
Okay. Sick. All right. So I want to give away my, I want to give away my home office tax strategy guide. I want to give away my LLC tax strategy. Okay. So this is what we're going to do for the next, what time is it right now? It's 1:18 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For the next 15 people who purchase a ticket, tickets are only $300, by the way. Gift this ticket to your CPA. Like if you pay for the ticket, it's a write-off for you, but gift it to your CPA. Like give them this. Give it to your enrolled agent. Give this to your tax preparer. It's only $300. I'm going to give you enough game over these 5 days to save at least $50,000. So give them this ticket. And for the next 15 people who purchase this, what I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you my LLC tax strategy blueprint. This is a program that I created that is not released to the public. This is really just for my private client group. And it goes over advanced LLC tax strategies, advanced LLC formation strategies. For some of you guys that don't know, there are layers to forming your LLC. And I have discussed those layers to forming the LLC. Not to mention, in this LLC tax strategy blueprint, I'm also going over some high-level tax strategies in regards to paying yourself correctly, when it makes the best sense to switch over to the S corporation, how to take distributions out of your company. And I know many, many tax professionals want to be able to communicate this effectively to their taxpayers, especially their taxpayers that are self-employed. So listen, for the first 15 people who sign up, you're just going to get this. I'm going to give it to you. You're going to get the LLC tax strategy blueprint as a part of your ticket. Give it to your CPA. Even if you want it, you can keep it, but give this to your CPA. Like, I really want to make sure your CPA has this information. Now, what I'm also going to do, I'm going to give them this one, John, instead. I'm going to give them the children on payroll, because every single person always asks me, Carlton, how do I place my kids on payroll? Can we pull that one open? I'm going to give you guys the Helping Hand Children on Payroll guide, which is a separate program I created that will teach you how to effectively place your children on payroll. I get it that a lot of people don't know what to do when it comes to placing their children on payroll. They're like, Carlton, how do I get my 2-year-old to work for me? Does the law allow for me to place a 5-year-old on payroll? How do I make sure that they're doing legitimate work, Carlton? I want to make sure that if I'm audited, I'm protected. Yeah, I know what you're thinking about, and I've already thought through it. This blueprint covers the in detail IRS publications around placing your children on payroll, what the IRS states that you need to do in order to do this effectively. I give you the blueprint on how I do this with my customers and how you can go about doing this for yourself without causing yourself to end up paying taxes on the money you paid your children. If you do the children on payroll strategy wrong, you will end up costing yourself more money than saving money. And this is why we put this blueprint together. Listen, I'm giving this to you, right? Like I charge well over $300-400 just for this program alone. I'm just giving this to you because I know that this is going to be important for your tax professional as they start to make the transition to becoming a tax strategist. But here's what I need from you. I need you to take some action with some of this information. I don't know if I'm going to jump on here and do another YouTube live between now and the event going live. I don't know if I'm going to, but I wanted to get on here today during this little tropical hurricane we're having to share with you some important information. There is going to be a transition in the marketplace. You will start to see that more CPAs will start to call themselves tax strategists. I've already seen it happen. If you log on LinkedIn.com, you will see all these CPAs changing their bios to becoming tax strategists. And I love to see it because guess what? They're starting to wake up. They're starting to realize their customers need more than just the tax return. They need how to reduce the taxes before the tax return gets released. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to John. John, thank you so much. And I appreciate you guys letting me rap with you here for a little while. Hopefully, well, first off, before I jump off, was this of value to some of you guys? Put a yes in the chat box if it was. Was this of value for me to jump on here and teach you guys some of this game? I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that there was more than one tax strategist in the world. I'm not the only one. My mother is not the only one. Just because I have a YouTube channel doesn't mean I'm the only tax strategist out there. I have hundreds of tax strategists inside of my mastermind who are working with me privately on learning how to implement tax strategies. But I wanted you guys to have this information because I realized some of you guys you're not in a position to drop $50,000 to $100,000 to hire a tax strategist, right? Just like when you go into the mall, you're not going to spend $5,000 to $7,000 on buying a pair of Louboutins when your Reeboks or your Nikes are just fine. That's cool. I'm cool with that. But what you can't afford is you can't afford for your CPA not to level up. You can't afford for your enrolled agent to make it through another year without the right information. That's what you can't afford because now you're putting yourself in a compromising position. For $300, I think you can change your circumstances. And I really look forward to seeing a lot of you guys there. I'll let you close it out, John.
Thank you, Carl. So yeah, definitely we have this challenge that's coming up. I want to bring up Kenny so he can go into a little bit more detail about what we have going on with this challenge starting next week. Carl, if you don't mind, if you can stay on, we have a few questions. I know there's a little bit of a delay from Zoom to YouTube. So as Kenny's kind of going over this, we can filter these questions and get them over to you. Does that sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Let's do this.
Yeah,
Hey, Kenny, how you doing?
Hey, John, I am doing well, guys. If you guys don't know who I am Carlton's brother. I'm the guy behind the scenes. And we decided me and Carl kind of got together one day and we noticed on his YouTube channel, there was a lot of clients and a lot of tax professionals that weren't able to pay us, especially for the taxpayers to pay us. They were between $50,000 for a tax plan. That's what we charge. That's just kind of what we do, right? So, and it might be you're a tax strategist and you're trying to learn these strategies where you can help your clients save money on taxes, not just from January to April, but all throughout the year. And if you're a taxpayer, this is even more important because if you're a person that wants to educate yourself on learning more tax strategies to hold your CPA accountable, or even to make sure you hire the right CPA at a fraction of the cost, you're going to want to make sure that you join this challenge because you're going to have myself, Carlton, Carla, and not only that, you're going to have a person named Mark J. Kohler. You guys should all look up Mark J. Kohler online. He's one of the best tax strategists on the internet, and he's been doing this for so many years. And he's going to be on the challenge. And I kind of want to go into a little bit about the ticket. So what we have, guys, we have our general admission tickets.
Let me ask,
yeah, absolutely, Carl.
Let me ask the audience. How many of you guys are familiar with attorney at law, Mr. Mark J. Kohler? Put a yes in the chat box if you know him. Because you guys send me his videos. Hey, Carlton, I watched this video from Mark. Does what Mark says coexist with what you're saying? Listen, I want you guys to understand me and Mark work together. Like there's no secret that me and Mark have the two biggest tax channels on YouTube. And I look as Mark as one of the OGs, and he will tell you that he is an OG. He has paved the way for people like me to be able to have a platform to coach and educate you. There's a reason why Mark is coming on to this event. He's coming onto this event because he understands that there's a need in the marketplace for other CPAs and tax professionals to adopt tax strategy. And he's going to give you some of the blueprints that I'll be sharing with you too during those 5 days on how you can make this transition over with your practice, or if you are starting a practice, how you can start it off on the right foot, right? So he will be on the coaching. If you guys are interested in getting access to the recordings of this, like you're going to need to buy VIP, which is $297. I thought it was $300. It's $297. you're going to need to buy VIP if you would like to have access to the recordings of me and Mark teaching together. I know that would be valuable to a lot of you guys. So sorry about that, Kenny. I'll let you jump back in.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Mark is, one of the best tax strategists, in the world. And he's going to be on giving some really great tax strategies. So like I said, if you're a normal taxpayer, this is something that you're going to want to be on just to learn about what are the strategies that are possible for you so you can hold your CPA accountable to make sure that he's doing the right things. Or if you're looking to hire one for a fraction of the cost, you'll know exactly what it takes and how to interview the right CPA to make sure you're keeping the most money in your pocket possible. Or if you're a tax strategist, or if you're a tax professional and you're wanting to learn, how do I build a business like this? What does that look like? This is something that you're going to absolutely want to be on. So John, let me kind of go over the tickets and kind of what those look like. So for general admission, tickets are $97. You're going to get access to 5 days of training with myself, Carla, Carlton, and Mark J. Kohler, one of the best tax strategists in the country, along with Carlton, going over some deep details on tax strategy and the things that you can implement. Then as well for the VIP tickets, which are $297, which honestly, this is like the director's cut. This is the cut that you really want the most, because this is where you get to be on with me, Carlton, and myself. And it's going to be an exclusive Zoom channel 30 minutes prior to the actual call, where you're going to be able to actually ask us questions. So if there's an LLC question, if you're not sure about how you should work with the client, do this, do that, all that type of stuff we're going to be able to cover. But let me go over actually what you guys are going to learn over those next 5 days. And John's going to kind of pull this up so we know exactly what this looks like. And I'm going to kind of break this down. So the first day, what we're going to go over is we're going to go over the mindset of a wealthy tax professional. So just like what Carlton was talking about, the communication skills and different things like that, this is going to be the most important day, because if you're a tax professional, learning how to transition yourself from a tax professional to a tax strategist is so important. And there's a lot of mindset shifts that we're going to have to go through to ensure that you're on the right footstep of knowing what you need to do. If you're a taxpayer, knowing what mentality when you're going in and hiring one, or if you have a certain CPA right now and knowing the way that he should think, you should know exactly what that should look like. So when you're going into those type of situations, you're able to have a great conversation with him and know exactly what you need and what you don't need, right? On day 2, this is where it becomes very good, because on day 2, Carla, which is again one of the best tax strategists in the world, right? She is going to be going over basically tax planning. So what does that look like? It's the difference between tax preparation and tax planning. And she's going to show you exactly what that looks like. How do you perform a tax plan? What are some really good strategies that you should be implementing within your business? This is the day we're going to have Mark J. Kohler on, who's going to go into deep detail about different tax strategies that have never been explained on Carlton's YouTube channel at all, right? On the third day, we're going to go over marketing. So if you're a tax professional, we're going to show you how to market your business. On day 4, we're going to go over the sales process, how you should sell the tax plan, all that type of stuff, then business operations and scaling your firm and taking it to the next level. And I really want you guys to understand, whether you're a tax professional or you're a taxpayer, if you want to work with somebody who is on the next level, who is helping you save money on taxes, this is very, very crucial. So what we're going to do for the next 15 people that join, Carlton's going to give away 2 bonuses that are going to help the normal everyday taxpayer help you save money on taxes with the children on payroll, which I think that's one thing you're giving away, Carlton, the children on payroll, and you're giving away the other and the home office. Those 2 things aren't on his YouTube channel. Those are going to help you absolutely crush it. The next thing that we're going to give away for free for the next 15 people that join is going to be something called the $3 million email blueprint. And this is for my tax professionals. This $3 million email blueprint is literally how do you communicate with your clients to make sure that you're helping them through the summer months, not just from January to April, but your communication skills to allow you to help your clients throughout the whole entire year. We're giving this to you for absolutely for free. I mean, this course is well worth $100 and something. The next thing we're going to give you is our frictionless pricing bonus. And this is going to help you transition you from a tax firm that does $300 tax preparation to $9,000 tax planning fees. Again, for us, we charge well over $50,000 for a tax plan, right? That's just what we do. And we're giving this away for you guys so you guys can learn the process and what we do. So these are going to be for the next 15 people that join the challenge. And if you're a taxpayer that wants to take your learning to the next level, if you're a business owner that wants to learn some tax strategies to take it to the next level, this challenge is for you. So John, I'm going to let Carlton kind of start going through the chat and start answering some questions. And John, you could probably start letting us know people who are purchasing. And once we get to 15, we're going to cut it off. But these 3 bonuses are just for the first 15 people that join today.
Yeah, and real quick, Kenny, before we kick it back to Carlton, if you could just please post your questions in the chat, we'll get them addressed. But also, if you're a tax professional or just a taxpayer with the bonuses, once you purchase your ticket, we're going to reach out to you so you'll be able to decide which bonus bundle you want to select.
Exactly, 100%. So we'll start kind of going through the questions. You kind of want to tee up these questions for Carl, John, and we'll kind of start going from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's see, let me go through here. So I have a question from a Mason. He's trying to decide if a LLC or an S Corp is the right situation for him. He has an engineering degree, thinking about starting an LLC for a while now. I'm not sure what his current business is or where he's at. But definitely, I mean, one thing with that, I think with your LLC bundle, Carlton, that's really going to address a lot of that, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Mason, listen, if you're somebody that's trying to figure out if it makes sense for you to be a single member LLC, a multi-member LLC, an S corporation, the LLC tax strategy blueprint will help you solve those questions. And more importantly, give you my expert opinion on which is best and when you should consider setting it up. And we also discussed when you should be making the transition from the LLC over into the S Corp, because I know that that's a conversation that comes up quite too often in the tax and accounting space. So Mason, if you're somebody that's looking to get some help, I would recommend purchasing your ticket and you'll get access to those 2 bundles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, Aquarium Store Depot he just got their VIP. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
You know, Dat Boy Will, appreciate you sending us in a super chat. You asked what's the best entity for a YouTuber. You're doing YouTube yourself. So for everybody who's watching this right now, go ahead and subscribe to him. You're doing $15K a month. Although the $15K a month means a lot, it doesn't in the tax and accounting space relative to whether or not you should be an LLC or an S Corp. And what I mean by that is I can make $100K a month, but then I can end up spending $100K a month, right? So I can end up being net zero in profit come December 31st. So naturally, it might make sense for me to have an LLC to separate my liability from myself personally, but it may not make sense for me to be an S corporation. So we typically don't recommend transitioning over into an S corporation until your profits are somewhere around 50K. So although you're making 15K a month, my question behind that would be, hey, how profitable are you based on where you are this year? We're already in August. You've been earning 15K a month, maybe since January. We should be calculating what your estimated tax liability is between now and the end of December to determine if you should switch over to an S Corp. And also, not just so you could switch over to an S Corp, but also for us to determine how much you should pay yourself out of that S corporation. We should know how much you should be taking in a salary because a salary is a tax deduction to your business. If my business makes $100,000 between now and the end of the year, I'm going to need to draw a salary out of that business if I'm an S Corp. And the reasonable compensation amount is dependent on what your profession is and what the tax savings are going to be. So you should be looking for your tax strategist right now, especially since you're growing your business.
Hey, real quick, let me jump in. I want to give a shout out to Mark and Christopher for jumping in.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
I have a question coming over from Kimberly. What if I want to learn for myself so I can do my taxes and do this as a side business? So, a lot of people who start off in tax and accounting space, they're typically profession driven. So they went to school for this. They wanted to become tax accountants. That's completely fine. But then there are a handful of people like myself who had no intentions of becoming a tax strategist or a tax professional. And so it does start off as a side hustle for many of us, and it was a side hustle for me. And if you're trying to make that transition to having a side hustle business in the tax and accounting space, you're going to get a lot of information over these 5 days on how you can grow this business for you the quickest way possible. And the best way to grow this business is by making sure that you have customers constantly coming in that are looking for your product or your services, right? So we're going to position you to have a marketing system that allow for you to have people who are constantly eager and reaching out to you, even though this will be a new business, that are eager to reach out to you for help. But we also want to make sure that you have the right tools and the right information before you start getting on the phone with people or before you start selling the services. So Kimberly, I would really be grateful to have you inside of the mastermind that we're going to have, the Tax Growth Challenge, so that way I can spend some time coaching you.
Hey, real quick, let me jump in again. I want to give a shout out to Sylvia and Quincy. That brings us five already moved. We're down to 10 left only. 10 left.
Okay, so we got 10 tickets. Okay.
Kenny, can you go over the times for VIP and for general admission? What time does that start?
So we start our challenge on August 28th, which is going to be obviously next Monday. So for VIPs, you guys are going to start at 3:30 specific standard time. And that's when myself, Carla, Carlton will be on all tax strategists, where if you do have any type of questions or anything like that, you guys will be able to basically get your guys' questions answered, different things like that, which is going to be awesome. Carlton doesn't come on too often. You just see him on his videos and different things like that. So you'll be able to get your questions answered. But it's going to be from Monday through Friday. General admission starts at 4 o'clock. You won't be able to get your questions answered by us, but you'll be able to hop on, be on there, and still get the training and all that type of good stuff.
Yeah, and for our crews, you made a very important comment. You said, hey, our tax strategist should be versed in the real estate investor field. I would agree with you. Not too many tax professionals go down the road of understanding the real estate stuff, and because it's a little bit more complex. But I love being in the real estate side of the tax code because there's more opportunity on the real estate side of the tax code to help every taxpayer. And so if I can position your CPA to learn more of the real estate side of the tax code, I really want to do that over those 5 days. So thank you for commenting on that. You also made the comment, I've been through 3 CPAs already because they didn't know how to strategize with me. And so this is a really common thing that happens, is where people will start upgrading CPAs because their CPA isn't solving the problems that they're looking for them to solve. But the thing is whether or not your CPA is even offering the thing that you're looking to solve. And most of us are looking to solve our tax issue. If I'm trying to get closer to saving money, I need to align myself with a tax professional that focuses solely on trying to help people reduce their overall tax bill. A CPA, like we talked about, is going to be useful when it comes to filing the tax return, and they can be useful providing tax strategy services if that's something they provide. If they do not provide tax strategy services, or they are not open to providing tax strategy services, this is when you can look at having multiple professionals, right? There's no rule that says you can't have a CPA that files the tax return and a tax professional that just does tax strategy, right? And these two people can talk with each other. I know that a lot of people who work with me will hire me to do the tax strategy, whether they choose to work with my tax firm to do the returns or not. I will consult with their CPA to make sure everything that I did from a planning perspective gets inputted into the tax software on the tax return side, right? So we want to make sure that everything ties out. And more importantly, we want to make sure that we're utilizing the right professionals for our needs. Can relate to you there. Lawyer Up said, she said, I made the mistake of trusting family who did their best but lacked certain knowledge. So a lot of us go to what we know is familiar, right? My mother told me to go to the person that did her taxes, or my aunt helps with taxes, right? So people go to what is familiar, especially when taxes are just one of those things, one of those areas in the financial space that not too many people know about, kind of like life insurance. Like certain people know what life insurance really does, and certain people are just like, it's just for you when you die, right? So same thing when it comes to the tax and accounting space. You will get to that point in time in your knowledge base where you'll realize, okay, there's certain people that just solely focus on filing a return. And then there's people that actually have aligned themselves to communicate through tax strategies and formulate plans. And that also dictates their availability, right? So a CPA sometimes, as you guys have known, not as available. Whereas a tax strategist, kind of their job is to be available in order to garner revenue, in order to assist you, right? So um, I guess it comes back to upgrading your professionals, but also aligning with who your professionals are.
Hey, Carlton, we had a couple more people jump in. We have Deborah, Terry, and Abraham
There we go.
just jumped in.
Congratulations,
Nice.
Yes.
Congrats, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Christopher made a really great comment. I tried to convince my CPA, but he just wanted to charge me thousands with no outcome or goals. Yeah, and that could be because he doesn't have the right information, right? Like, it would be pretty hard for me to come up to you and just say, hey, I'm a tax strategist, pay me $10,000. I'm going to help you save your tax bill, versus coming to you and saying, hey, thank you so much for giving me your information. Based off of what I was able to put together, I can save you $40,000 in taxes. My fee is $10,000, right? I think you're much more inclined to pay somebody when you know what they're capable of doing for you, versus paying somebody who can promise outcomes that may or may not happen, right? And so again, as a tax strategist, you want to work in integrity, but you want to have the right tools and information to be able to approach a customer to let them know how much you can save them before they engage, right? So this is a great comments. I really appreciate you guys hopping on here with me. For those of you guys that are still on, we're going to give out the bundle for those who end up purchasing. I'm going to let this this bundle go until, yeah, I'll let it rip until 2:30. So for many of you guys that are jumping on right now, for those of you guys that don't know, we're putting on the 5-day tax challenge. The reason why we're putting this challenge on is to help more CPAs and tax professionals align themselves with tax strategy. There's a gap between those who are offering tax strategy services in the marketplace versus those who are just assisting customers with tax preparation. And unfortunately, when you guys come to my office, you're kind of confused around the process because you're not filing tax returns with us. You're coming to my office to do tax strategies. So the information you're uploading is different than the information you're providing to your CPA. The conversations that you're having are different, and the engagement that you're having with me and my firm is completely different, right? And I love that, because when it's time to switch and take off the hat for being your tax strategist and put on the hat to file the tax return, you guys truly understand that distinction. There's no longer questions around what can we do or how can we do something. It's just, hey, did I give you all my information, right? Because once you have all the information as a CPA or a tax professional, you can file the tax return. And that's what the CPA's job is supposed to do. Complete the tax return with all data and all information present, right? Whereas a tax strategist is going to ask you for information, consult with you, and provide you back a strategy. And that strategy could be updated all the way up until you file those tax returns. So for a lot of you guys that have taken it upon yourself to join this call today, I want to say thank you for spending time with me. I've realized I've been on here with you guys for a little over an hour now. So I just want to say that I'm grateful for your time. And for many of you guys that haven't already, go ahead and copy the link that's in the top browser and share this video over with your enrolled agent, your CPA, your tax strategist. I know it will it'll help them get closer to becoming the tax professional that they're meant to become. And for many of you guys who are already planning on showing up for the tax growth event, I want to say thank you so much and kudos to you and for making sure that you're aligning yourself with the right professionals. Thank you guys so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the Tax Growth Challenge.
Take care, guys.